to be about tomorrow and planning for the next day, and then ultimately bringing all that into focus as we attack the season.
Welcome to the Publix Tailgate Show. JP Shadrick, Mike Dempsey, and Brian Sexton have all the news and information to get you ready for today's game. The Publix Tailgate Show is brought to you by Baptist Health, Farah and Farah, and by TIAA Bank. The Publix Tailgate Show starts right now.
Well, today the Jaguars get a first-hand look at who they want to be. A season ago, the New York Giants lost close games. This season, the Giants are 5-1, and they find themselves the beneficiaries of close wins. The 2-4 Jaguars have 2 big wins, but 4 very close losses. This week, the conversation in North Florida has centered around the question, when will the Jaguars transition from a team that suffers close losses to a team that finds a way to get close wins? Hello and welcome to hour number 1 of the Publix Tailgate Show, everybody. Brian Sexton along with Mike Dempsey. Today's game here against the New York Giants is brought to you by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at Florida Blue. And without further ado, welcome in. Good morning, Mike Dempsey.
Good morning, Brian. Is today the day that we snapped a little streak and get one of those close victories?
Can I be the first one to say better be?
I hope so.
I mean, Doug Peterson has probably said it 5 times in the last 5 weeks. Time is running out to start making plays, right? Even though there's still 11 games to play, you want to have any hand in this thing. You want to make any run at this thing in November. Time is ticking away. There's an old axiom, and look, we know time changes everything, right? But when I first started in this league, about the same time you probably did 30 years ago, you went from being a team that had big losses to a team that had close losses, if you were doing it right, to a team that had close wins, that occasionally would get a big win, right? I don't know if that's still true or not, but that's where the Jaguars are. That team right there in the middle that, well, they're 2-4 because they couldn't win close games. If they were 4-2, they would have won close games. Do you see this as being a team that's making that kind of progress?
It's hard to say, Brian, because different things have gotten them in the last 3 weeks, right? You had the sloppy play with the 5 turnovers by Trevor Lawrence in the Philadelphia game. That was the main culprit. Then you had the general offensive woes, only put up 6 points against Houston. And then last week you did plenty offensively, including a 10-minute drive in the fourth quarter that could have been an early career-defining drive for Trevor Lawrence as one of those fourth-quarter signature comeback victories, but then the defense let them down. So it's been a different aspect of the team in my eyes that has been the main culprit 3 weeks in a row. I'd like to say they're getting closer because the offense has been consistent and the defense is getting better, or vice versa, but every week it seems to be recently a different problem has popped up.
Like to see a close one today. I know everyone's a big one. Give me a 7-point, give me a field goal at the end, just something that breaks that glass.
Look, as long as it's a W, yes, I'd rather have a close one, right? You'd rather have them get tested and respond and be resilient. And look, the old adage is good teams find ways to win close games. If that is the case, then the Giants are a very good team. The Jaguars have not yet shown themselves to be.
The average game in the NFL is decided by less than 8 points. So you better be able to win close games. So give me a close one today against the Giants. We'll see. We're about 90 minutes away from finding out exactly what the Jaguars are going to do on the corner where Shaq Griffin would normally be. He's obviously had a back issue this week. I had a chance to ask Doug Peterson this week. It's one of the big stories, how the Jaguars can shore up that pass defense that let them down, especially on that final drive when they clung to that narrow 1-point lead. Doug Peterson said it is a plan of many different avenues to get it all fixed.
I think there's a little bit of all that, quite honestly. If we play man coverage, we got to play man coverage, right? We can't give so much free access sometimes. Now I'll say that to say this: that teams scheme man coverage, right? You get in bunches, you get in stacks. It's a way to draw, picks and allow guys to get open. And now you're in a trail position as a DB, and it's hard. It's extremely hard. But you do the best you can. You can mix, maybe some zone in there, from time to time. But at the same time, we ask our guys to do a lot. We challenge them, some of the veteran players, and somewhere we got to just make a play, and as coaches, we got to make sure we're doing the right thing too, and putting our players in position to be successful.
I think what I hear there, Brian, is something that we've heard from Doug Peterson really throughout the first 6 weeks or so of the season, is that execution is a big thing, that there are opportunities for plays to be made. He goes, look, if we're going to play man, but then be at the right depth, right? Execute it properly. Man coverage can work in the National Football League, but you have to execute it properly. And if everyone's not on the same page and one guy's playing off his guy a little bit, giving him that cushion, that early, a quick release, easy completion, it can throw off the entire defensive game plan. So, look, teams make adjustments, as Doug Peterson alluded to. You've got stack formations and different things you do. Well, defensively, you're going to have to make those adjustments as well and play that chess game a little bit. Maybe it's disguising what coverage you're going to be in right up until the moments before the snap and then shifting. Above my pay grade, I don't know the answer to that, but I do hear that as a theme from Doug Peterson that, players are being put in position to succeed. They need to make the plays.
Well, it wasn't only Shaq last week. The problem was that after that 18-play drive that gave the Jaguars the lead, it was Griffin who struggled, and so everyone focuses on that. Whoever it is that's playing corner today, how they play is going to be a big story in this football game. You mentioned execution. The quarterback talked about how it didn't happen for this team against the Texans, and then how it did last week, especially in the fourth quarter with the game on the line in Indianapolis. And he said no matter what, it all comes down to executing the game plan they've worked on all week.
Pretty much every play that we run, we think is gonna work. We have it repped versus all these different looks, and it usually always comes down to execution. So that's what it is. At the end of the day, we got to execute better as an offense, and there's times in that game where we executed really well, and there were some looks where, honestly, they did some things that were a little bit surprising, and we were able to adjust and just communicate and make a play. And then there was times like on that fourth down where we didn't execute well on our end. And I mean, great play by them. I'm not taking anything away from them, but at the end of the day, it comes down to us and what we do, and we should be really prepared for whatever look they put out there, and we have smart enough guys to adjust to anything. So we gotta be better on that end.
I'll take 27 every week out of the offense, honestly. And I feel like Trevor fell on the sword a little bit on that fourth down play. I don't know anybody who liked that play call. I mean, you run a speed option where you start off with the ball a yard from the line to gain, and by the time you pitch it to Travis Etienne, he is 5 yards away, and he's losing ground because you're running it towards the sideline. So I know Trevor Lawrence says, hey, we've got to execute in that circumstance. And sure, you got to execute to the best of your ability. But that play call, I thought, left a little bit to be desired.
Well, and I thought it was one of the more telling moments of the week because Doug Peterson was asked about that over and over. He said, look, at some point you got to just line up and play football. I overthought that one. Thought too much in as a play caller. Sometimes you just have to line up and play football, and that's a situation where you should have.
Move them off the ball. You've been running the ball well against them. Go right at them. But, hindsight.
We talked about the Giants in close wins. That's been the story of their season so far. Tight end Evan Ingram was there with those Giants for 4 years. And in particular, last year, he said he saw the makings of a Giants team that would be able to grab the close win. He thinks he sees the same thing in Jacksonville.
In New York, we were always in those close games. We just never knew how to finish them, and that's what they're doing now. They're rolling, and they're finishing those close games. Those games come down to the fourth quarter pretty much every week, and they're finishing them out. And we're learning to do that here. So it doesn't surprise me at all. We've always had the right mentality up there, and I know the guys in the locker room. They want to win. They work their butts off each and every day. It just wasn't falling our way, and so now we kind of in a situation here where we got to figure it out and go take them.
I'd like no one more to have a big game today than Evan Ingram because he's been getting killed all week long. Giants fans, look, we get it. When guys leave the Jags and we're less than satisfied with the performance that they had in their career here, we pick apart the flaws. And Evan Ingram had a problem with drops with the New York Giants. And I can't tell you how many people on the message boards and on social media were just talking this week about how this game's going to come down to the fourth quarter, a ball's going to pop off of Evan Ingram's hands, and we're going to intercept it and seal the game. That's what they think of this guy. So I'd love for him to be able to go up against his former teammates and at least get a touchdown today, just have a big performance and a win.
Plus, he's one of the really good guys in that locker room.
Seems like it.
He really is. He's got great insight into the game. He wants to help reporters do their job and tell the story. It's unfortunate that a bad reputation as a football player kind of makes guys root against you, but it's the way of the world in the NFL. We were talking earlier about the 18-play drive and how important that was for the quarterback. Christian Kirk thinks it was important for the whole team, a launching point, if you will, for where this offense needs to go.
I think that's the kind of offense that we are in general. One that has the ability to go 14, 15 plays, run the ball, stay ahead of the chains, and, convert on third downs when we're supposed to. When we're at our best, that's what we can do. We did it a couple of times earlier this year, not to that extent, but, especially with our backs against the wall, needing a score to kind of put us up, ahead of in the game and, give our defense a chance. I think for us offensively, it's a good way to kind of end that game. Although we did lose, but, we're able to take that momentum and take it into this week.
I don't disagree. You can certainly, as an offense, build off of that. Like to have that coming to win the next time. But, all you can do out there, they dominated time of possession. They did it when they had to do it. They put a ball in the end zone instead of trying to settle for a field goal. So there are a lot of positives there. But, next time, let's let the defense finish it off.
If you look around the NFL, you'll find keys to victory for every game, every week. Mm-hmm. And they're all the same this week for the Jaguars, to find a way to beat the New York Giants, and that is to stop Saquon Barkley. I grabbed Dwan Smoot in the locker room on Thursday afternoon. He said it's really not all that hard. It's just not all that easy either.
You just got to get your body on him. You got to make sure you can't just put an arm out there and think you're going to tackle him. You have to bring your feet, and that's what we're planning on doing.
Bring your feet.
Yeah, bring your feet. Bring your mean intent. Foley Fatukasi and Foye Oluwakin, two guys who are questionable to play but expected to play today. Going to be a lot of eyes for me on those guys and Devin Lloyd. Those are the three key players, I think, to stopping Saquon Barkley.
You can get him in the backfield for a yard. Then he'll get 2. Then you get him at the line of scrimmage.
Then he goes for 40.
Yeah, exactly. You've got to have your body. You got to bring your feet. You cannot expect to just be able to pull him down. He is, at 230 pounds, a guy who runs like Derrick Henry, but can run by you like a lot of guys like Dalvin Cook. So that'll do it for Sound this hour. Much more to come from the locker room throughout the course of the week in hour number 2. For now, though, it's time for Radio Magic, and I feel like we almost need a theme song for this because it's gotten so good. You know what it is, folks. You wait for it every week. Here is E.T. Come on, somebody.
Is it Good Morning Duval? No. Is it Good Morning Duval? No. Good morning, Jacksonville, a.k.a. Duval. And welcome to another edition of Come On Somebody. Boy, your boy's in a good mood today. But what else is new? Something light, nothing special. A little razzle-dazzle is what I like to call it. Now, I ain't even gonna lie to you. Part of the reason why I'm so happy is because I got a call from my Uncle Holiday earlier this week. And if anybody know my Uncle Holiday, he will put a smile on your face, too.
You know who it is.
What up, Unc? But now let's get to a more serious topic. These New York Giants. These Giants coming into the city and think they're going to leave with a dub. But we got something else in mind. Now, I know we sitting at 2-4, but that don't really even matter. Because we're going to bring that energy. We're going to say it with our chest, and we're going to represent. Y'all know how the game go. Come on, somebody.
Oh, my Lord. Hey, listen, Jacksonville, don't give up on the Jaguars.
You'll be crazy if you already giving up on the Jaguars.
You'd be crazy to give up on the Jaguars.
I literally just, never mind.
We're just having that little rut. Once we clean up that right there, we're in there. Don't give up on the Jaguars, I'm telling you.
Listen, in a very short period of time, the Jacksonville Jaguars are relevant.
Yeah, we got a little relevancy to our name right now.
We can actually look back on all these games and pick a handful of plays and critique them and say, man, a bounce here and a play here, and we are 4-2.
Bro, I do that every week, and I could put us at 6-0.
Look, Vegas picking us is not by accident. We're a dangerous team in Week 7 in Doug Peterson's first year.
That got to be one of my favorite calls of all time. I can agree with pretty much everything Buddy said, the positivity and the energy that he got, and then that Vegas joint. Things that'll make you say,
Not Uber stink, but who you stink?
Who? You stink. Who you talking to like that?
New York Giants stink.
Oh, okay. I see what you did there, my bad, fam.
Come on, Jags. Put that trash to the curb. Duval!
What is up, E? This your boy, Steve-O.
Steve-O, what is up? What it do, baby?
All I'm going to say is this. Duval!
All right, E.T. It's Rudy again. As you see, I'm not so happy right now.
Dang, bro, why you so down?
I don't know what to say. I'm going to just say, I pray we win, man. That's all I got.
Dang, my boy Rudy, I ain't never heard you so down. I pray we win too, man. Come on, somebody.
Hey, this is Marshall from Springfield.
Marshall from Springfield, what up?
I just wanted to say keys to victory. Defense, pin your ears back, stack the box, play press coverage, just make them beat them through the air. Come on, somebody! Duval!
Hey, Marshall, I like the way you finished off. Come on, somebody.
Hey, E.T. Hoof Baby here.
Finish us off strong, Hoof Baby.
Hey, Jag fans, put a jacket on, bring your Maxwell House coffee. Thanks for the phrase, holiday.
Old school, Gator Bowls, Maxwell House coffee.
And come to the game. Come on, somebody.
Well, that's my little 3.5 minutes, so I'm going to start making my way to the Buzz Zone. But not before I leave y'all with one last thing. Come on, somebody.
Do you know I have a grumpy 16 and 18-year-old every Monday morning? On the bye week, I'm hiring E.T. to be waiting in the kitchen when they come downstairs. Can you imagine that?
It's tough to not be in a good mood when you're around E.T.
100%.
There's no question about it.
Start the week off right.
Holiday, over the last year, has become our favorite caller, or certainly one of our favorite callers. He had his 1-year first call anniversary this week. He has come up with a number of memorable catchphrases in regards to this Jaguar team, and so that's who is being referenced there for folks who don't know.
Fun in the first segment every week. I look forward to it. I'm sure you do as well. But there's much more to come here on hour number 1 of the Publix Tailgate Show, including...
It has to be complementary. When the defense is playing good, the offense is playing good. When the offense is playing good, the defense is playing good. It can't be the defense is playing good, offense bad. Offense playing good, defense bad.
Rayshawn Jenkins is this week's Baptist Health Player Interview. Plus, CBS Sports senior writer Pete Prisco is up next. The Giants and Jags are less than 3 hours away. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Want to make sure he gets to the game on time?
Tommy, your uniform is ready. Let's go.
Install a natural gas dryer, and you're guaranteed faster drying times and softer laundry. And now you can earn a valuable cash rebate up to $200 on an energy-efficient natural gas dryer. Show your home love with natural gas, and it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Brian Sexton, Mike Dempsey with you. Hour number 1 here, the Publix Tailgate Show from TIAA Bank Field, where the Jaguars and Giants are coming up at 1 o'clock. Before we get there, we've got a lot for you today, including your weekly visit with Pete Prisco. A little perspective from a bigger picture.
Absolutely. From the outside looking in, so to speak. And, we like to look back at what went right and what went wrong the week before. And what went right was that 10-minute drive in the fourth quarter, and wanted to ask Pete's thoughts on what this might do kind of to move along Trevor Lawrence's development.
Well, I think it can only build more confidence. I mean, it should have been a game-winning drive. And when you get a game-winning drive, your confidence gets boosted even more. But the defense couldn't hold it, like you mentioned. But still, in the back of his head, he has to feel real good about the way they move that ball down the field, come from behind, fourth quarter, and go get the score. So I didn't like to play on the 2-point play, but that's a whole nother story. But I still think you got to give him credit. I think it helps get him going. I mean, he wasn't bad the other day, but at some point they have to start driving the ball down the field.
Are teams just absolutely taking that away right now, Pete? And I mean, do they have those opportunities, or are teams playing that kind of coverage where you're better off settling for the underneath stuff?
Well, I think the Colts play that kind of coverage all the time. But I think when you rush for 200 yards in a game, there should be opportunities down the field off of the play action, and they just didn't hit any of them and didn't really go down the field at all, which was surprising.
Well, you're going to play against a team now that loves to blitz, so you're going to get some one-on-one opportunities against Wink Martindale's defense. Is Trevor Lawrence and the offense ready for what Martindale is going to bring? They blitzed over 60% of the time last week alone.
Yeah, and I think it's a challenge for any young quarterback, and it was a challenge for Lamar Jackson last week, and so they come from different looks all over the place. They're creative, and you're going to have to block it up. And one of the things they have to do is you talk about getting the ball out. That's fine, but if you get a one-on-one on the outside, take that shot. Go. You might get a pass interference penalty. You might hit it for a touchdown. There's a lot of things in play there. They have to start taking them to back people off. This team will come after you, like you said, and they'll play some man coverage, so there's going to be opportunities.
All right, well, Trayvon Walker taking the field for his 7th NFL contest today, Pete. And on the other side, we're going to see Kayvon Thibodeau, and he's going to be compared to guys like him and Aiden Hutchinson throughout because they're all pass rushers selected in the top 10 of the same draft. Just where is Trayvon Walker in his development in your eyes through 6 weeks, and what do you expect going forward?
Well, he's not rushing the passer very well, and I think that's was something that you saw on tape when he came out of Georgia. He's got to learn how to use his hands. He's got to learn how to get off a guy. He just barrels into the chest of the tackle, which is an easy way to really block him. And he's a powerful man, and he's a good football player. He's going to be a really good football player, but is he ever going to be a great pass rusher? That's the question. And to get to that level, he's got to start using his hands. And when you talk about Thibodeau on the other side, look, when he came out, he was my top-ranked pass rusher. I liked the way he played. There were questions about him, but as terms of pure pass rush ability, he was that guy. And now you get to see the two of them on the field together. It'd be fun to watch.
Yeah, Giants are 5-1. Pete, how is that?
They do things like last week. They got dominated by the Ravens and, gave up. They were outgained by over 200 yards, and yet they kept them out of the end zone in a lot of situations. The Ravens were inside the 30, I think, 4 times in the first half and didn't get much out of that. And so that's how they're doing it, and they're running the ball. They're ugly on offense. They don't throw the ball down the field. A lot of their weapons have been missing time.
Right.
And I think Brian Daboll's done a really good job with the way he calls plays, and Saquon Barkley's being back to Saquon Barkley. So I think this is a game that plays perfectly into the hands of the Jaguars' defense in terms of what they do. They've been pretty good against the run, and this is a team that wants to run the ball.
Well, Pete, lots been made of the fact that the Jaguars are a betting favorite in this game against the 5-1 team. And look, I get it. They have lost every game by a single score margin this year, so they've been competitive in every contest this year, but the Giants have been as well, and they found ways to win those games. Despite that, I took a peek over at CBSSports.com, and I think you like the Jags again this week.
I do, and I think they win this game. This league is hard to predict, but when you have a team coming off a monster win, and that's what that was for the Giants, that was a proving ground win for them last week in terms of beating a good Ravens team and the way they did it coming from behind. There's always a natural letdown. Now you go out on the road, it'll be hot, comparatively speaking to what the Giants are used to up there. And I think, it's not going to be scorching hot, but it's going to be hotter. And I think that's going to play into the advantage of the Jacksonville team. And I think, look, Mike, the defense has to be better. They have to rush the passer better. But I think in this scenario, you stop the run, and that'll help your pass rush. And I think they will limit Saquon Barkley. So I'm going to take Jacksonville to win the game outright. And I think they'll win by a touchdown.
Yeah, glad to hear Pete talk about their ability in his mind to limit Saquon Barkley, Brian, because what I heard first was, well, this is kind of the NFL formula, right? You got a team that is maybe playing a little bit above their heads, and they come in, and then all of a sudden you can't understand why this team with a worse record is a favorite in this game, and that's just the NFL way, and things have a way of balancing out. I'm hoping we're not counting on that today. I hope we look and say Trevor Lawrence has a game plan designed to counter what Wink Martindale's going to throw at them. They'll blitz it more than 50% of the time today.
I think that we'll go back before the season is over and point to that 18-play drive last week and say that was a turning point moment.
I hope so.
And sets itself up today to be able to get something done. Here's a question, though. If last week against the Ravens was a statement game, right, a monster game for the Giants, would a win over the Giants today be that for the Jaguars?
I don't think so, in my opinion, because I don't think most people perceive the Giants to be as good as the 5-1 record indicates. And, that's I'm sure the Giants are like, keep talking, right? And because all they do is go out there and win every single week. You have to be impressed by what they've done. But up until the last 2 weeks when they went to London and beat Green Bay, and then they beat Baltimore, and they were trailing them for a good portion of that game, they had the benefit of a pretty soft schedule as well. So, but they took advantage of it. And that's something the Jags have not been able to do in close games.
Close wins. Pete Prisco in the second segment of hour number 1 every week. All right, time now for our Baptist Health Jacksonville Orthopedic Institute interview of the week. Baptist and JOI are the official sports medicine providers for the Jacksonville Jaguars. If you're so inclined, go to Jaguars.com and go back and look at Mic'd Up from a week ago with Rayshawn Jenkins. The strong safety was everywhere, playing with incredible energy, and you could argue he's the most improved player on the defense, and today all that energy will be required to shut down Saquon Barkley and find a way to end the 3-game losing streak.
I feel like I've always played with that energy, even last year. If you go look at my film from last year, I was pretty much flying around too. It's just a different leadership on the team, different coaches, just different. No distractions this year. There's a lot of distractions last year, so I know a lot of those distractions kind of overshadow, the good things that we were kind of doing here. But I appreciate everybody noticing, I guess, but I've been doing this, I can't lie.
Does the scheme that Mike has employed, does that unleash you? I mean, interceptions, tip balls, blitzes, tackles. I mean, it seems like you're doing everything in this scheme.
Yes, I love playing under a guy like Coach Caldwell because he does, put his players in position to make plays. So I really appreciate that. Just like you said, tip balls, interceptions, sacks, open field tackles, everything you can possibly name of. You are going to be put in that situation at some point in this season by being in this defense because that is how exotic it is. So you need to know basically every role on the defense.
This team has made so many things happen and yet hasn't gotten to the end the last couple of weeks. What's it take to finish as a young team?
Complementary football. Simple as that. When the offense isn't doing so good, you know what I'm saying? It has to be complementary. When the defense is playing good, the offense is playing good. When the offense is playing good, the defense is playing good. It can't be the defense is playing good, offense bad. Offense playing good, defense bad. Special team bad. You know what I'm saying? Special team good. It can't be any of that. It has to be pretty consistent around the board. So I would definitely say complementary football and just settling down. We have a young team, no panic, and just really learning how to the definition of being a professional. You know what I mean? Just really taking information and learning how to apply it onto the field.
And so how do you get that message through the young players? Because I've talked to veterans in the locker room, I've talked about detail. How do you get that message through?
You have to show them. You have to show them, like, especially a guy in my position, starting free safety, I have to come to work every day and show the other safeties in the room, hey, this is how it's supposed to be done. This is how it's supposed to look. This is how we will have a better chance of winning on Sunday.
You get Saquon Barkley. He's averaging 5 yards a carry. Forget the fact that he's a big back. He is, or a fast back. He is. What's your mindset going into the game?
Like I go to every game. Shoot, I'm not. Like I said, I'm not worried about Saquon Barkley.
Let me ask you this way: he's a guy who likes to get downhill. I would think maybe your mentality is you're going downhill on him.
I mean, I played a lot of downhill backs this season. I've done a pretty decent job against him. So I mean, I'm just trusting. I'm worried about me right now, man. Making sure my head is clear, making sure I know my plays, making sure I know my assignments, and everything else will play with that. Whoever lines up in front of me lines up. It could be Barkley, it could be 88. I don't know. It could be anybody. So.
Your buddy had a tough week. The way he stood and handled himself really says a lot about who he is. How do you lift him up?
Man, we're professionals in this league, man. Like, this is a guy I sit next to every day. We know what it is. Like, we know there's going to be a game like that. I know I'm probably going to have a bad game at some point. I don't know when, but it just is what it is. It's just the nature of the game. Now, bouncing back, that's what you have to learn how to do, you know what I'm saying? And that's what we know how to do. You know, we've been in the league for a long time. A fairly long time. I wouldn't say a long time, but 6 years. But, yeah, man, you got to learn how to bounce back. I've had tough weeks like that. This isn't his first tough week. You see what I'm saying? So, of course, he knows how to handle it. Of course, we know how to handle it as a group. And like I said, moving forward, man, I promise you, this isn't my last time having a bad game. This is his last time having a bad game. It just is what it is.
I guess final thought then, they're a hot team. They're coming in 5-1. Can you become a hot team if you beat them?
Oh, absolutely. We can become a hot team. If we go on a streak here, man, we can definitely become a hot team. And this would be a great start to it. A great start to a roll, man. 5-1 team. They look pretty good. Got some pretty good challenges coming in here. 26, 88, the wide receivers, the quarterback is actually pretty, you know what I'm saying? He's pretty good. So it's looking good over there. Like you said, man, this will be a big win for us and a big momentum shifter for us if we can get this W.
Mike, his energy level was so high, I could have handed him the microphone and he'd still be talking, right?
You love those guys in the industry, right?
I really do. And today, he could have an LB next to his name because I think he's going to be near the box. I don't know Mike's game plan. There may be some wrinkles, but he's a guy who is unafraid to throw his body into the gap.
Well, look, the Giants, without Sterling Shepard on injured reserve, Kenny Golladay has been a non-factor since they signed him, basically. He won't be active today. Kadarius Toney won't be active today. They're depleted in the wide receiver core. So, yeah, I could see that extra man or two in the box today to deal with Saquon.
All right, much more to come here on the Publix Tailgate Show. We're going to check in with Brenston Buckner.
A difference between good and great guys, they don't care when, they don't want to know when practice over with. They want to keep on going. They want to repeat a play, and they want to practice until they can't get it wrong. Good people just want to practice till they get it right.
That's defensive line coach Brenston Buckner, and he could have been talking about Hall of Famer Tony Baselli and Jeff Logman, who will join us in the final segment from the booth for the first rounds on us. All that and more straight ahead on the Publix Tailgate Show here on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Milquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at TIAA Bank Field because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Bono's is currently expanding its brand with franchise opportunities throughout the Southeast and beyond. Over 70 years of authentic Southern pit barbecue and owning your own business are a great combo. Go to bonosbarbq.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond. The original pizza logs are a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars and available at the stadium on game day. You'll find those delicious gourmet pizza egg rolls at concession stands, clubs, and suites. For all their products, be sure to check out pizzalogs.com and have them delivered right to your home. That's pizzalogs.com.
Put down the burger, put down the dog.
Pick up the original pizza log. There's only one. The original pizza log. Yeah.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit ridesmartflorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
We are back, and thanks for joining us here on hour number 1 of the Publix Tailgate Show. Brian Sexton and Mike Dempsey. Hour number 1 is brought to you by VyStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. Jaguars and Giants coming up at 1 o'clock, and today's game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Lots ahead here this morning on the Publix Tailgate Show. Time now for our weekly commentary from Rick Ballou.
Spent plenty of time talking about the Jaguars' schedule this summer, figuring it would be brutal for Jacksonville against the AFC West and manageable against the NFC East. And the major surprise is the NFC East, where the Jaguars have already lost in Washington and Philadelphia, and today they'll try to snap a 3-game losing streak by knocking off the Giants. Here comes New York. They've never won in Duval. They're 0-3. Giants are one of the best stories in football, period. They're 5-1. It's pretty incredible considering they have 3 victories where they have been trailing by 10 points or more. They've come from behind and been able to win football games. As well, you look at Daniel Jones in this passing offense. They are not good. Jacksonville is going to be able to win today. Simple. Make him beat you with his arm. Jacksonville is 2-4. Yet they're plus 24 when it comes to point differential. You look at the Giants. They're 5-1, plus 14. Now, what does that mean? Well, you know as a Jaguar fan, Jacksonville should probably have 4, maybe 5 victories so far this season. 3 keys for the Jaguars if they're going to get a victory. Number 1, Trevor Lawrence against the blitz. Can Lawrence get rid of the football early today? Stop Saquon Barkley. He is the best running back right now in the NFL. He's averaging more than 170 yards a game. Got to win the turnover battle. A few weeks ago, Jacksonville was number 1 in the NFL at plus 7. Last 3 weeks, they have been minus 8. You got to turn that around this afternoon. And look at Daniel Jones once again. He's been sacked 19 times. He has also lost a couple of fumbles.
All right, a little behind the scenes for you. We're, 50 minutes away at 11:30. The teams release their inactive list, so we'll find out who's coming in or out of the lineup today. It would seem like this is important this week, Mike, more so maybe than other weeks, to find out whether Foley Fatukasi is going to be able to play after missing the last 2 games. With Saquon Barkley on tap, the big guy is a guy you really need.
Oh, absolutely. Foley, and he's probably the number 1 guy. And then Foye Oluokun, the league's leading tackler last year, pretty important guy to have as well. Another guy listed as questionable coming in.
So this week I caught up with Brenston Buckner, the Jaguars defensive line coach, to talk about his guys inside. Remember, he doesn't have Josh Allen. Trayvon Walker's not in his room. Those guys are in the outside linebackers room. He's got Foley and Devon Hamilton and Roy Robertson-Harris and DeJuan Smoot. He's got guys who have built a really tight-knit group, knowing that the success of their defense depends on them.
The toughest part is getting them to understand how hard it takes to prepare to win, to not lose. The message of winning, everybody wants to hear that message. That's the sound good part. Now it's just getting them to understand the work you got to put in to achieve that. You set the goal, but then you got to go and work at it every day. And when it comes to winning, you can't let a day slide because the goalpost is always getting moved in winning. You might win this way this week, but next week you got to win a whole nother way. But each week you got to go out there and reestablish yourself to chase those goals.
So in terms of preparation, Coach, what's the difference between good and great?
The difference between good and great guys, they don't care when, they don't want to know when practice is over with. they want to keep on going. They want to repeat a play, and they want to practice until they can't get it wrong. Good people just want to practice so they get it right. Great people always want to practice so they can't get it wrong. They want to know, they don't want to have to think when they get out there. I know exactly what I'm doing. I know my steps are perfect. My hands are perfect. My get off is perfect. Wide receivers, playing with Jerry Rice and the T.O.s and Steve Smith, they want to run perfect routes all week because on Sunday they want to run it perfect. So the difference between good and great is great guys, they don't care when they end. They want to go until they get it perfect because they don't want to have no problems when it comes to performing.
Tell me about the consistency of your group. I mean, you've been really good against the run. There was the one game against Philadelphia, but consistency in the run defense is so hard to achieve because the league seems to want to see the offense succeed. So tell me about this particular group and why they're so consistent.
Well, I think they want to work. And we have a motto in our room that we don't celebrate the good. We attack the bad every week. So every week we come in there, we look at, if we had a good game against the run, we try to look at what could have went wrong because that's what the next opponent is going to try to attack you on. And so these guys allow me to coach them hard, and they allow me to be honest, and they're honest with themselves. And so they always challenging each other like, hey, that's behind us. If we held on to this, it's always another step we can go to. So that's been a good thing about the consistency, and they continue to challenge one another to get better. And it's almost to the point now where they're coaching themselves, and if you talk to any coach of any great unit or great team, it was player-driven, not coach-driven. And so they're to the point now where there are 8 or 9 coaches amongst me, and they all echoing the same message.
It seems to me, especially, you know this, in a 3-4 scheme, the linebackers get all the credit, right? It seems to me like this group of defensive linemen, they're really tight. I watch them in the locker room and on the sidelines. They've really coalesced around the idea that they're the guys that make it all happen.
Yes, they're the foundation. We always talk about building a house. You drive through the neighborhood, everybody marvel at the paint job, the roofs, and all the flowers. But it's the guy that's laid that foundation is really the key to the house. And we like to say in the D-line that we're the foundation. If we build this house on a shaky foundation, it collapses. So they pride themselves as, hey, we got to be sturdy. We the first domino. If our domino fall, the ones behind us fall. And and we say we don't have to be the reason why we win. We don't want to be the reason why we lose. And so when you go at that perspective, we play to make our linebackers better, our secondary better, and it creates an unselfish atmosphere, and that guys are always willing to pour in there and keep going.
First 4 games, 9 turnovers. The total amount they had a year ago here. From a defensive line perspective, how do you get more turnovers?
Well, you just fly into the ball. You're tackling the ball. I had a great coach tell me one time, the game is at the ball. So you get there, you throw bodies around, and you get your opportunities. The ball's always talking to you. Believe what it's saying. Poke me out, rip me out. And so the more and more you fly around, then it becomes an attitude. Coach Bob Sutton and Coach Mike, they preach turnovers. So we talk about it, and we keep up with them during the week, and we challenge guys, hey, you didn't have no strip attempts today. Get it tomorrow. So it becomes second nature. So it's an attitude in which Coach Mike had put in since day one, and Coach Sanders always telling guys, you got to think about it so it manifests itself, and we just try to keep on attacking.
Talked about nearly 3 decades in the league. 2 weeks ago, defense plays incredible. Last week, offense plays incredible. You have these moments where it's kind of back and forth. Is that the sign of you to a team that's figuring it out or a team that's on the rise? How do you see this young team?
I think we're figuring it out, but we know in this league, that thought process, that transformation has to happen pretty fast. But, Coach Doug talk about it all the time. We got to get to the point where offense good, defense good, and special teams. We can't be ups and downs. Even though games have ebbs and flows, you want each other to feed off one another. And so that's a young team, and they got to understand every week, you got to reset yourself and start hitting that rock again. But now these guys are starting to get it, because we want them to understand we don't never want to get used to losing. You want to hate this feeling more than you love winning. And so guys are starting to get it, and it's going to take some time, but as much as we play, they come to practice, Doug will always tell them, hey, reset yourself. Reset yourself every day. When you go out there, you're always shooting for something, and then practice uphill so you can play downhill on Sundays.
Do you enjoy coaching as much as you enjoyed playing?
I love teaching. I don't call it coaching. I like to teach. I think I was blessed to play as long and be as long around the game. So I enjoy teaching because I enjoy seeing a guy do something he never thought he could do. Or before I met him, he couldn't do it. And so that's the joy. And for me, playing is so self-fulfilling. But when you're coaching, it's like the joy. It's almost like raising your child. These guys like my little brothers, and I'm giving them all the knowledge I got. And to see them get better, start enjoying it, and challenge themselves, that's a greater feeling than ever playing.
It's hard not to stand in front of Brenston Buckner and talk football and realize he's one of the reasons why this coaching staff and this defense has had some success early this season. He's a high-energy guy with a lot of great experience. Much more to come here on the Publix Tailgate Show, which, by the way, is brought to you by PRI Productions, the official production company of the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have everything you need to bring your next event to life, so visit PRIProductions.com. At 11 o'clock, hour number 2 with JP Shadrick. Before that, though, we go to the booth for Tony Baselli and Jeff Loggeman. And more straight ahead on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Kessler Creative, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, has the print services you need for your business. Need large banners and signs for your next promotional event? How about custom boxes to advertise your company fleet? Find out for yourself how Kessler Creative can help you stand out from the competition with eye-catching designs that are sure to impress your customers. Kessler Creative, Jacksonville, Florida. Results-driven marketing and a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Decisions are a part of our everyday life. Whether you're building a football team or building your education, your success is built on the decisions you make. So choosing J-Tech as your career training destination should be a no-brainer. With small class sizes, dedicated instructors, job placement assistance, and financial aid available for those who qualify, J-Tech is praised as a good choice by our graduates. Learn how you can build your career the right way by visiting jtech.org for more information.
The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. The milkshakes and the sundaes and the cones are such a treat. Look out for the ice cream stand, enjoy it from your seat. The creamiest, dreamiest soft ice cream you get from Mr. Softy. For refreshing delight supreme, look for Mr. Softy. S-O-F-T-E-E, Mr. Softy.
Touchdown at Jaguars away games when you fly nonstop from Jacksonville International Airport. Join the Jaguars in D.C., Los Angeles. Watch them win in Philly, Indy, Detroit, Nashville, New York, and Houston. When you fly nonstop from Jax, on-airport parking will punt the stress from your travel itinerary. Garage facilities offer defensive coverage from the weather and are a 50-yard dash from the terminal. Economy parking is just $6 a day. To learn more about nonstop flights and on-airport parking, visit flyjax.com.
Hey, Jags fans, Brian Sexton for Dreamfinders Homes. In a complex housing market, do decisions on the biggest purchase of your life stress you out? At Dreamfinders Homes, they can build the home of your dreams in one of their many communities in Northeast Florida. With a mortgage company in-house, they're here to assist you throughout the entire process. Choose from their wide range of single-family homes or townhomes from the 300,000s. Dreamfinders Homes specializes in homes built to fit your lifestyle. Call 904-590-2545 or visit dreamfindershomes.com. All right, final minutes of hour number 1 here on the Publix Tailgate Show. Brought to you, of course, by Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. Joined now from the broadcast booth by Hall of Famer Tony Baselli and Jeff Loggeman for the first rounds on us. And we'll start with our Finding Solutions segment, brought to you by UF Health, delivering compassionate care and world-class outcomes. That's our game plan. All right, guys, last week, 42 of 57 was Matt Ryan against the Jaguars. How do you solve the issue? Who do you solve it with today? on one cornerback side? Because by all accounts, Tyson Campbell is really holding down the other side very, very well.
Well, I mean, now the good news is you're not facing a veteran Matt Ryan. You got a young guy, Daniel Jones, who's not the most accurate cat and is only averaging about 170 yards passing a game. So, Brian, it might take care of itself even if you do nothing different. But I thought what Mike Caldwell talked about, I mean, they got to do a better job on the crossers. They got to do a better job in their as they make their breaks on the ball and that underneath coverage. And Jeff, I don't know about you, but I thought Devin Lloyd struggled a little bit in coverage last week as you watch the tape.
Yeah, big time. With Shaq being out, Brian, I mean, specifically, I mean, my expectation is that Darius Williams, if you're in base personnel, he'll take over and be the main corner. When you go to nickel, now you got to bring in another guy, and I think that's probably Trey Herndon. Now, what will they do? Will they leave Darius Williams at the normal nickel spot and then let Trey Herndon play corner, or does Trey Herndon play corner? I don't know, but the one thing I do know, Trey Herndon's a good football player. He's not great in man coverage, okay, but this is not a team, I think, that scares you with any of their wide receivers to where you're going, oh, my gosh, I mean, what if we put Trey Herndon on this guy? He's not going to be able to do it. So I think they'll be fine from that aspect, but the concern for me is not about, missing a guy. It's about, in last week's game with Matt Ryan, you were playing what appeared to be these combo coverage, which was like zone on one side and man on the other side. And when somebody went from one side to the other, there was no communication. Yeah. And so that's got to be cleaned up. Otherwise, it's going to be a long day.
Jeff, you know what else you could do? Get a pass rush. Drop back 52 times last week, and how many times did they sack Matt Ryan? That means zero. And so you have to get pressure on the quarterback, even if you're not sacking him. Jeff, you know this.
But
if
here's
you
the thing.
hit him,
we're talking about the pass game here, okay? But this game is about Barkley.
It's the truth. You're right about that.
I mean, Brian and Mike, this is unbelievable if you look at the numbers. Barkley accounts for 40.5% of the Giants' offense. He's the second leading rusher in the league, as you guys know, and he's their leading receiver with 21 receptions. I mean, this is as a one-man show as any offense that you'll see in the National Football League, because the next highest guy as far as percentage of offense is Tyreek Hill down in Miami, and he's like 32. I mean, so if you stop Barkley, man, you're going to take away a lot of what the things the Giants have been doing well, which is protecting the football, taking the pressure off of their quarterback, and allowing him to roll play action. So you stop Barkley, man, all that stuff goes out the window.
Maybe a little easier said than done, I think, as every team's been trying to do exactly that this season, guys. So let's presume that Foley, Fatukasi, and Foye Oluokun are able to go today, both listed as questionable. How well-suited is this Jaguar defense to at least slow Saquon today?
I mean, they're third in the NFL in rushing defense, and that's with a terrible outing against the Philadelphia Eagles. So they're as good as anybody, I'd say, Mike. And this is a game, to follow up on what Jeff said a little bit, because I agree with him as far as the lack of weapons in the passing game and Daniel Jones just being okay. I expect a lot of 8 in the box, extra man down, play single high safety, and put the pressure on your corners to go cover people so that you can take away Saquon Barkley. I think that's going to be critical.
Yeah, and the other thing, this defense needs to stop making mistakes that is just allowing the drives to continue for the opponent, whether it be pass interference, roughing the passer, having a mental breakdown. I mean, whatever it is, you got to start playing solid football to give yourself a chance. And if you can play solid football against the Giants and stop Saquon Barkley, and I know that's a tall task, but it's something that the Jaguars are good at, you can put a lot of pressure on Daniel Jones. And now, the one thing I will say about Daniel Jones, he does have some mobility. And when I say mobility, give folks an idea, he's got 47 rushing attempts already, which is really high. I mean, if you look at him from a career standpoint, his highest was like last year was 65, but he's on pace this year for 133 rushes. So you better make sure that you've got an eye on him. But make no mistake, Tony, he's not Lamar Jackson.
No, but Brian Daboll's his head coach and basically calling plays. Ken Dorsey is, but this is Daboll's offense. Where'd he come from? Buffalo. What did Buffalo do with Josh Allen? They ran him quite a bit more than, designed quarterback sweeps. Designed quarterback runs in the draw game. So Brian Daboll is just taking what he did with Josh Allen. Now, Daniel Jones is not Josh Allen. He's not that talented. But it's the same feel and the same type of schematic operation that they want to do. and use the quarterback's feet to beat you.
Guys, we all want to believe that 10-minute fourth-quarter drive is a sign of great things to come for Trevor Lawrence. But in the immediate future this afternoon, how well-suited is he and this offense to deal with Wink Martindale and the blitz packages they're going to bring?
Well, I think that's the number one storyline of the ball game as far as that matchup, Mike, is how you handle Wink Martindale's defense. And, top aggressive defense in the National Football League. They blitz more than anybody. When it comes to overall blitz numbers, they blitz more than anybody when it comes to facing a passing game. And I'll say this. If you can get an adequate running game against this Giants defense, because I think that's possible, the Jaguars are running the football well, I think the back end of the Giants is suspect. And I know they've been pretty good. They're a top 10 defense, as far as scoring defense and all that kind of stuff. But I'm just telling you, they're not great against the run. The personnel on the back end, I think they're covering it up a lot with scheme. And if you can do a good job with running the ball, play action, if you get an opportunity to get Zay Jones on Fabian Moreau or Dory Jackson or even a Christian Kirk against any of those guys, I think that's a win for the Jaguars. And Trevor Lawrence obviously has to be able to make quick decisions and decipher a defense. And that's going to be a tough task for him against a defense that sometimes can be very confusing. But if you run the football, boy, you sure do simplify things from an offensive standpoint with your foe.
Well, they better run the ball, Jeff. And I think it's a big day for ETN, who's averaging over 5 yards a carry. And guess what the Giants are doing? They're giving up over 5 yards a carry. They aren't just, kind of poor. They're really bad on defense stopping the run. And I think you have to expose that. Now, what they're really good at is bending but not breaking. They're one of two teams, the Buffalo Bills being the other, that have not given up 24 points or more this season. And so they're doing it by all sorts of methods to keep people out of the end zone. But at the end of the day, the only stat that matters, they're pretty good at, and that's points allowed.
All right. Tony and Jeff from the booth. Thanks for first rounds on us, guys. Have a good broadcast today. And that'll do it for me for hour number one. Mike, as always, enjoyed sitting in with you. Next week, we do this very, very early in the morning.
Yes, we do, and we'll look forward to that as well, hopefully coming off a W.
All right. Mike Dempsey, JP Shadrick is in next, and the Publix Tailgate Show rolls along here in advance of the Jaguars-Giants kickoff. That's 1 o'clock today here at TIAA Bank Field. You're listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Brooks Rehabilitation is hiring nurses who want to be empowered as advocates, educators, care coordinators, and leaders in exceptional patient care. They have open RN, LPN, HHA, and CNA positions across their inpatient, skilled nursing, and home health care settings. Join their nationally recognized team, where you'll serve as a central team member doing what you do best, providing exceptional patient care. Apply at careers.brooksrehab.org.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
Hi, Jags fans. Walker Little here for my friends at Kingfish Pest Control. Playing offensive line in the NFL, I must block and protect on every down. When it comes to keeping my home pest-free, I expect that same level of protection. So I contacted Kingfish after seeing thousands of positive online customer reviews about their service. I can confirm from personal experience, bugs don't stand a chance getting past Kingfish Pest Control. Do what I did. Reach out to Kingfish Pest Control to protect your home, a proud partner of your Jacksonville Jaguars.
At most sandwich places, asking for more of something is just part of the drill. But what if you never had to ask for more? What if more was just a given? At Daly's, more is what our sandwiches are built on. More meat, more cheese, more veggies, more quality, more taste. All for a price that's anything but more. Sandwiches from Dash, made fresh. Daly's.
The Publix Tailgate Show continues right now.
And it's hour 2 of the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. We're 2 hours away from Week 7. The New York Giants at 5-1. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-4. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey and Ashwin Sullivan at TIAA Bank Field. The Giants-Jaguars game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Well, the Giants are one of the surprise teams of the 2022 NFL season, early at least. The Jaguars have lost 3 in a row, trying to get right today, and let's see if they can defend the bank, Mike.
Yeah, Jags were one of the surprise teams after 3 weeks, after 2 impressive victories. But look, you hear it all the time. We've already mentioned it this morning. They tell you good teams find ways to win close games. Well, if that's the case, then the Giants are a definition of a good team because they play close games every single week. They're 5-1. Jags, Ashland, have just not gotten over that close game hump yet.
Yeah, it's the difference between a team that's losing close games, and hey, credit to them, a season ago they were losing in big ways. So yes, the Jaguars are improved, but they're not at the point of the Giants right now. And all over national media today, NFL Network, ESPN, they're talking about how in the world are the Jaguars favored in this game in Vegas. That is the storyline when they talk about this, is that no one is giving the Giants the respect they deserve for being a 5-win team. How could they be favored against the Jaguars? Vegas knows something, apparently.
I don't know. Let's get to some of today's top stories going into this one. Jaguars Game Day Radio brought to you by 5-Star Credit Union. Do good, bank better. Quarterback Trevor Lawrence coming off a 20 of 22 passing performance last week on top of a running game that ran wild in Indy in a losing effort. The Jaguars showing different offensive wrinkles week to week, something Lawrence loves to see.
There's a lot of things that, we might have and we decide not to call it, or we decide to just put it on the back burner for a week or two just because we don't feel like it's the right time or that we're ready to do that one yet. So, I think that we're really smart with how we do things, and coach especially. So I think they do a great job with that. And yeah, it's fun seeing all those plays as they go in, and, it's always cool to see the guys they put in different situations, different positions.
And we've seen this a few times, a couple of unbalanced looks on the offensive line, some end-around jet sweep handoff things, Mike, and, they're not putting out the full arsenal every week, but just kind of mixing it in as this goes along here.
Right, and sometimes it can be a little too much, but, at other times I think we've all looked at it and said, wow, this is the most creative play calling we've seen around here in several years, and that's generally a positive here. Look, I'm happy with whatever they run if they put up 27 as opposed to 6, which they did the week before. They ran for 240 yards. It didn't matter in terms of the one-loss column, Ashland, but if you can run for 200-plus, you're going to have a lot of success offensively in this league.
Yeah, and you mentioned the balance, and I think Coach Peterson is still trying to figure out that balance as well. I love the honesty in his press conference this week when they mentioned the 4th down play in Indianapolis, and he said, you know what, at times, let's just line up and play football. And everyone was freaking out over that play. Why would you give it to Trevor in that situation? Well, when we love the creative plays when they work, we don't when they don't work. So I think right now they're trying to figure out the balance as a whole, coaching and playing.
Yeah, it's one thing to call something a little out of the ordinary on 2nd and 5, live to play another down. When it's 4th and 1, and I think that was the thing. You're running the speed option. You pitch the ball back. Now ETN has to make 5 yards to get the first down on a 4th and 1. I think Doug probably said, yeah, all right, you're all right on this one.
He rightfully so took the heat on that one. Yes.
Well, one thing we know for certain is that they will continue to go for it on 4th down in most of those situations, and one of those play designers is offensive coordinator Press Taylor. He explains their approach when Peterson knows they're going for it on 4th.
Well, I mean, it's great knowing you got extra downs sometimes to get a first down. It's 3rd and 2, and you think, all right, if we just get half here or we try something, there's a good chance we got another down. So you can be aggressive in that mindset in terms of scheming things up, designing some plays. But then you just know he's doing whatever it takes to win. He's trying to give us an opportunity to win the game at each situation. So that's fun to be a part of.
It helps when you have a couple downs to kind of figure it out, maybe get half of it, Ashland, and then 4th and 1, 4th and 2, here we go, just on the plus side of the field. It's about usually where this happens.
Yeah, and I think we now absolutely know that this is going to be an aggressive play calling team, and it's to the point now where it is 4th down. We're like, all right, the offense doesn't even question. They're staying on the field. There's no question of anyone running off. It's like, let's just go play another play at this point.
Yeah, and in that circumstance, I'm on board with this, right? It's 3rd and 1. Be aggressive. Throw the football. This is the league you're playing in right now. If you're going to turn around and then run the ball on 4th and 1 when you've been dominating on the ground. It's when you throw it on 3rd down and then you run something that makes us scratch our head. So I have no issue with those 3rd and short opportunities. Be aggressive, take some shots down the field. That's how scoring gets done in the National Football League.
The Jaguars' offensive line last week led the way for 243 yards on the ground in Indianapolis in a losing effort. But right guard Brandon Sheriff told me this week in the locker room there was more out there a week ago.
If we would have finished a couple blocks here and there, we could have gotten a few more yards, which who knows, they could have sprung somebody else, to maybe score a few more points. So you always have to look at it that way, how to improve and just get better.
This is an offensive line. We mentioned some of the unbalanced looks. One of those was on the long touchdown run from Hasty last week, but this is a group that in the run game especially has been pretty good this year.
Yeah, no doubt. And the Hasty play, just about any back in the National Football League would have taken that to the house. It was so well blocked, untouched. You got to have the speed to do it. That's not a knock on him. He executed the play, but just another example, Ashland, of good play design doesn't just have to come in the passing game.
Oh, yeah, Chris Manhertz makes that play. When you watch the replay, that play doesn't exist without Chris Manhertz. And we don't talk enough about Chris Manhertz because he's the blocking tight end. But we talked about him a lot this week with that play because he deserved it.
And he's from the Bronx, by the way, so Big Blue on the other side. He told me this week that it's just another team wearing blue. He's not he's past all that. He's been in the league for a long time now. Over to defense now. The Colts threw the ball all day against the Jaguars last week, and a lot of it on cornerback Shaquille Griffin. Defensive coordinator Mike Caldwell said it is a full team effort, though.
You can never really put it on one guy because at the same time, like when he's in coverage, we have 10 other guys that are out there supposed to perform their job. And if they do their job, then maybe that doesn't show up. So it's a team game. And when you have one guy that has the opportunity to make a play, there's 10 other ones that also have the opportunity.
That's the defensive coordinator, Ashland. Mike Caldwell, of course, Shaq Griffin on the injury report this week, out for today's game with a back issue, and there'll be some changes in the secondary.
There will be. Trey Hernan will go in today, and Shaq Griffin told us in the locker room that this is a disc issue in his back that's been going on since training camp, and it's something that's been lingering. One week it's good, the next week it's bad. So credit to that. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I think if Trey Hernan plays well today against the Giants, I wouldn't rule out that there's a competition here at cornerback. I understand the cap figure. I totally get it. You can't sit a $60 million guy on the bench, but Trey Hernan has been known to plug and play well. I think it'd be a little bit of a controversy if he plays well against the Giants, Mike.
I think you can sit a guy on the bench. No matter what, you're not going to sit Trevor Lawrence on the bench, right?
I hope not.
The future. It's the importance of that position. But Shaq Griffin got signed. Yes, Trent Baalke was here last year, but Doug Peterson didn't bring him in. Right? I think Mike Caldwell is going to put the players out there that he thinks can best execute what the game plan is for that given week. And if that happens to be Trey Hernan, fine. Look, they're going to need Shaq Griffin at some point this season, whether he steps right back in the starting lineup or not. And that is a position, JP, that you're right. Look, there are a lot of factors that go into when you have a poor performance, right? It's all interconnected, but cornerback is one, Ashland, that just stands out. You see that guy, and it's one-on-one sometimes, and did you win or lose? It's just a one or the other kind of outcome. Shaq lost too much last week, including the ultimate game-winning touchdown, and that goes with the territory, though, of being a cornerback in the NFL.
It certainly does. I even go to training camp, and our favorite drills are O-line versus D-line, when you clearly see if the left tackle got beat, and then everyone can go on Twitter and talk about it. It's the position. It is the cornerback position. And yeah, unfortunately, he had a microscope on him last week.
You are on an island. There's no doubt about that. Priority number 1 today for the Jaguars defense, though, slowing down Giants running back Saquon Barkley, first in the league in rushing attempts, second in the league in rushing yards. It's outside linebacker Josh Allen.
He's a good back, all-around back. He catches the ball good out of the backfield. He gets the short, the short, tough downs, tough yards, and also we can break it deep. He's a good all-purpose back. We're going to have a big challenge this week on trying to contain him, but, that's a part of our job description, and we've been doing a really good job at that thus far, and we're going to continue to do it.
Foye Oluokun on chasing around number 26 today.
Just when he has the ball in his hands, he's trying to, he can make a big play out of anything. So really it's about getting hatched to the ball and trying to contain that. We know he's going to get the ball the whole game. And I love his game. I know he runs the ball hard. He's trying to make the most out of every play, so I always compliment him after I play him. But, we have a big task at hand.
Well, the offense, Mike, goes through number 26. On the ground, he's the leading player with the most receptions on the Giants as well. He is number 1. He looks just like, if not like he did before the knee injury, if not a little bit better right now for this New York team.
Yeah, he's a candidate for MVP at this point in time. You got a team that's winning a lot of football games. He's out there clearly the focal point of the offense. So over 40% of the offense has been running through Saquon Barkley. And it's interesting, too, because, you look at the Jags are ranked 3rd defensively against the run.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Ravens are 7th, even after facing Saquon last week. So it's not like every week he hasn't faced decent competition. He's just getting it done regardless. And if you stop him in the run game, he's dangerous catching the ball out of the backfield. He's 100 combined yards waiting to happen.
Yeah, I was watching an interview with Daniel Jones this morning, and he said he's back to 2009 Saquon Barkley. Pre-injury, this is a guy that all of a sudden has just come back into his youthful self, and no one can really figure it out. Yeah, the Jaguars' great run defense. I don't think they've seen a back like Saquon Barkley. I love Coach Peterson's honesty this week, saying you cannot take a play off with this guy. You can think in the third quarter we stop the run and then he'll hit you for 50 yards. Doug Peterson has the experience of playing against this guy, and hopefully that's key today.
And you mentioned Daniel Jones. He has some wheels as well and has the ability to run off some of those things also. Finally, this Giants-Jaguars game might mean a little extra to a few New York natives. We mentioned Chris Manhertz, Andre Cisco, another one, just to name a couple. But tight end Evan Ingram was a first-round pick of the Giants. He's not dealing with a revenge game idea, but he does want to play well against Big Blue today.
Nah, man, it's no revenge. Got a lot of love for that franchise and that team. They treated me well for 5 years. I'm excited to see those guys. I definitely am excited to compete against them, though, for sure. It's going to be a fun game for me to play in. I want to make as many plays as I can just for the team. I want to go win. There's an extra storyline on the side, just form a team and all that, but that's small compared to what we're trying to do here. So obviously want to go out there and make as many plays as possible and come out with a win.
There's Evan Ingram, and that connection, it's starting to kind of find its way, Ashton, a little bit. He and Trevor Lawrence, it was big in the offseason and in training camp, and then the yardage is starting to come. They're starting to throw his way a little bit more. It's just a matter of keeping it going.
Yeah, they always leave us wanting more with Evan Ingram. I feel like every Monday morning on Drive Time, that's one of our major talking points is why haven't we seen enough of Evan Ingram? But you're right. Every week it's a little bit more, but maybe we'll never be satisfied with how much Evan Ingram plays, but it's certainly a storyline.
Yeah, I'm not buying it's not a revenge game, by the way.
That's what I'm saying.
Come on,
right?
man. Look, he's a good guy. He's saying the right things, thank the organization, all that, but you want to perform better against the teams that let you go than all the other teams out there. I firmly believe that.
And especially with how scrutinized he was as well by Giants fans.
And continues to be.
Wait a minute.
It hasn't stopped.
There's a microscope in New York. Who knew, right?
No, but the fans this week are just like, hey, you know how we're going to win this game. Jags will be driving for the go-ahead score. Ball's going to go off Evan Ingram's hands, and we're going to intercept it and clinch the game because they make it sound like that was the weekly occurrence in his time with the Giants. Look, he's had issues with drop passes. I hope it doesn't happen today.
There you have it, some of today's top stories ahead of the Giants-Jaguars matchup in week number 7. Ashwin Sullivan, you visit with a player coming off the field each week after a practice. There's a golf cart involved. It can sometimes be dangerous. Who did you have this week?
This week was very safe, surprisingly, because I have Arden Key, who is one of the loudest, most rambunctious personalities in the locker room. It was a very safe episode, and he talks about changing positions here midway through the season.
Oh, definitely. Especially the position. You know, I was in the D-line room at first, and now I'm here outside linebacker. Well, I'm really in both rooms. Splitting up time with the outside linebackers and also inside rushing at the D-line. It's great for me because I like you said at San Fran, I played the 3, nose, the end, so I played up and down the D-line, and the outside linebacker is just a standing up defensive end to me.
So Arden Key right now balancing time in both rooms, in the defensive line room and the outside linebackers room, with Kayvon Chason going on injured reserve. They moved him over, and we're seeing him now practicing with Trayvon and Josh. But he said, hey, I love having options. And it was interesting because Trayvon, when he was drafted here, wanted to be in one spot, and he wanted to just have that sole position. We're even seeing him move around more. It sounds like that's going to be this defense. It's just a constant flow of guys doing different things.
Well, hopefully one of those combinations works to get this pass rush jump started here. They have not been last week they didn't get home at all. It was a lot of quick releases, but after a pretty good start to the season, it's waned here lately.
Based on the way they played in the preseason, I think Arden Key was one of the guys we were most excited about. You know, getting consistent pressure hasn't shown up with the exception of the 1 sack against Indy in week 2.
All right, there you have it. Where can we find the interview?
It is on Jaguars YouTube, Jaguars.com, Jaguars social media, all kinds of Jaguars things.
Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Jaguars.com,
You get
all
it.
of the internet things.
And all the other apps that exist nowadays.
There's a lot. It's everywhere. We cover them all. That's Ashwin Sullivan. You can catch her, of course, on Jags Drive Time in the mornings, 3 days a week on Jaguars.com. 15 minutes away from the inactives. Up next, though, we'll hear from Bob Papa, the voice of the Giants, on who in New York saw this coming. The 5-1 start for the Giants, the Jaguars at 2-4, and it's a 1 o'clock kickoff time at the bank today. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle. You know it takes concentration, knowledge, and skills beyond those required to drive a car. Ride Smart Florida would like to take this opportunity to remind you to enjoy the road, but to always ride smart. S-M-A-R-T. Say no to drinking and riding. Make yourself more visible to motorists. Always wear your helmet. Ride in control. Train regularly and get endorsed. Visit RideSmartFlorida.com for more details. Do you ride smart? This message is provided by the Florida Department of Transportation.
The Land Rover Defender story began with the simple thought of creating an exceptionally capable off-road vehicle, becoming the go-anywhere, do-anything all-terrain machine. Today, there's a new Land Rover Defender, the toughest and most advanced Land Rover vehicle ever. From the beginning, Land Rover knew the new Defender was capable of great things. Motor Trend's 2021 SUV of the Year is just the latest example. Test drive the new Land Rover Defender today at Land Rover Jacksonville on Atlantic Boulevard, or go to LandRoverJacksonville.com. Land Rover, above and beyond.
What do you call a group of friends who wear the same jersey for good luck, no matter how old it is, and who support their team through thick and thin, week after week, as if the very season depended on it, while tossing the pigskin and drinking Miller Lite? You call it Miller Time in Jacksonville. Here's to the original light beer. It's Miller Time. Celebrate responsibly. 2022 Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Jags fans, this is Shaquille Griffin. I'm going to share some of my secrets for competing in the NFL. First, the field is no place for hunger. Growing up, I got big and strong eating boiled peanuts. Today, our team is serious about fueling our bodies, and that means popping open some protein-packed peanuts from Luray's Peanuts. It's the same boiled peanut flavor I used to love eating as a kid, but with superfood nutrition that lets me tear it up on the field, pick Luray's boiled peanuts at all Jaguar home games, or pick up a few bags at the grocery store and fuel up at home.
Can health insurance be a doorway to a healthier life? To yoga classes? To nutrition classes? To nurses you don't need an appointment to see? Or even community specialists who give you access to helpful resources? It can. Our Florida Blue Centers offer all that and a whole lot more. All you have to do is walk through the door. What else can health insurance do? Find out at floridablue.com. Florida Blue, your local Blue Cross Blue Shield. Florida Blue is a trade name of Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Florida, Inc.
From TIAA Bank Field, this is the Publix Tailgate Show. We're inside 2 hours from Week 7. The New York Giants at 5-1. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-4. A 1 o'clock kickoff time at the bank today on a beautiful sunsplash day for football. Hope you'll make it down to TIAA Bank Field. Let's look around the NFL as we enter Week 7. Week 7, Mike.
All right, here we are.
Not
We're
Week
actually
7. It's almost Halloween.
We entered it already because of Thursday Night Football. We're already there, but that's okay. Thursday night, we had a big trade go down in the National Football League, and that was Christian McCaffrey getting sent to the 49ers. Multiple national reports indicate McCaffrey will make his Niners debut when San Francisco hosts Kansas City later on today. The Niners sent 4 picks to the Panthers, a second, third, and fourth next year, and a fifth-rounder in 2024 to acquire the 26-year-old running back. That's not the only notable running back storyline in that game, however, as rookie Isaiah Pacheco is expected to supplant Clyde Edwards-Helaire as the Chiefs starter this afternoon and maybe turn that into a full-blown committee-type situation, but Pacheco will get the first opportunity to get the hot hand. Now, the Panthers were content to deal McCaffrey, and they also had traded Robbie Anderson in recent days to the Arizona Cardinals, but they're saying they're not going to have a fire sale. They have a lot of attractive young players on that roster. One guy who apparently won't be on the move is defensive end Brian Burns. Carolina reportedly turned down at least one offer that would have given them 2 first-round picks for the 24-year-old pass rusher. Meanwhile, in Denver, Broncos quarterback Russell Wilson has been ruled out of today's game with the New York Jets with what's described as a partially torn hamstring, a grade 2 strain that Wilson is dealing with is usually a multiple-week injury due to the risk of additional damage that comes from playing before it's fully healed. Of course, the Broncos will be in London next Sunday to take on the Jaguars. Brett Ripien could be starting then. He will make his second career start today for Denver when they take on the New York Jets. The Washington Commanders plays quarterback Carson Wentz on injured reserve, leaving him sidelined for at least 4 games, and it'll cost him a chance to face both of his former teams. Wentz underwent surgery on Monday to repair a fractured right ring finger. He hurt that in a 12-7 win over Chicago on Thursday night a week ago. That also means Wentz, though, won't play against Indianapolis on October 30th and Philadelphia on November 14th. And finally, Detroit Lions running back DeAndre Swift not expected to suit up today against the Dallas Cowboys due to ankle and shoulder injuries. Detroit hoping to get Swift back from a 2-game absence after its bye, but it now looks unlikely barring a status change in pregame warm-ups.
There you have a look around the National Football League in week number 7. If you're looking for the MVP of the truck game, then look no further than Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capabilities and designed to dominate work, play, and everything in between, this truck makes tough look easy. Your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jaguars. Well, the New York Giants are one of the surprises of the season so far in the NFL. They're 5-1. Bob Papa's been the radio voice of the Giants on the WFAN Giants radio network since the mid-'90s, and you might know him from Golf Channel and SiriusXM NFL radio as well. I asked him who saw this coming in New York.
Nobody. No, there's a lot of people in the building that are surprised. Coming off this horrendous 5-year stretch where the Giants and Jets had the worst records in the NFL, going back to the start of 2017 and 4 wins last season, and now look at the Giants. They're 5-1. They have 3 double-digit come-from-behind victories, 4 fourth-quarter comebacks. They're off to their best start since 2009 when Tom Coughlin was head coach. Of course, that year they finished 8-8 and missed the playoffs. They're doing it in a pretty cool style.
Is that sustainable for the long haul?
Yeah, it's sustainable for the talent level that they have. So what the players have done is, and Brian Dable, the head coach, and Carl Banks and I, we do a lot of TV shows and stuff together with Coach, who we've gotten to know him pretty well. They know what they have. They know what their roster is. They know that they're two guys that they start at wide receiver probably would not make most other teams, let alone start. But the players have bought into this mindset of make the game ugly, dirty, and muddy, and then see where we are in the fourth quarter. And it's funny because before the Monday night game at MetLife Stadium, which ironically was the only one that the Giants lost, Dable walks out, team comes out. Carl and I are standing on the sideline getting ready to do our radio hit. And he walks over and he's like, hey, look, I told the guys, we're not pretty. We're not going to be the ones that are picked for the prom. Let's get to the fourth quarter, take them in deep water, and let's see who can sink or swim. And every game has been the same way. They could be 1-5, but they find a way to win these close games, which the Jaguars, on the other hand, seem to keep finding ways to lose games because they're the best 2-4 team out there. Charlie Weiss and I said on our Sirius XM NFL radio show when the Jaguars were 2-2, if you looked at the division and looked at those first 4 games, they played the best of any team in the division through those first 4 games. They could have won in Washington. I mean, they could have won last week. The only game that kind of got outplayed, I think Philadelphia, we could all say, right? The Eagles game, the Eagles are a better team, but the Jaguars are dangerous on Sunday.
Is Daniel Jones the long-term answer at quarterback, or are they moving on?
Well, that's a great question. So Daniel Jones in his last 11 starts before he got injured last year, he's 8-3, not turning the ball over. He has 5 lost fumbles in his last 17 games. So I'll give you some ratios. His rookie season, he averaged 1.8 turnovers per game. 2020, he averaged 1.5. Last year, he averaged 0.9 turnovers per game. And this year, he's averaging 0.7. Doesn't turn it over. Does not turn it over. And he can make all the throws. So now you got to take into consideration, who the hell is he throwing it to? Marcus Johnson, a 7-year journeyman. David Stills, Wan'Dale Robinson, their second-round pick, just got back. Kadarius Toney, it's almost like he's not even on the team at this point because he never practices, he never plays. And Kenny Golladay was a mistake free agent signing by the previous regime. There's nothing these guys can do about it. But I will tell you this. There was a situation, I think it was the Carolina game this year. Maybe it was the Bears game. We're doing the TV show with Coach Dable, and I said to him, Coach, I said, man, it looked like Daniel had some guys where he had some guys there that he could hit. And he goes, you sound like my wife. I'm like, what? He's like, all these guys on TV, these former players that are drawing stuff up on the board, and they're saying, Daniel Jones, he's missing these guys in windows. Because you know why he's missing those guys in windows? Because those guys are running the wrong routes. They weren't supposed to be in that window. He's going through his progressions, and now there's somebody flashing that's not supposed to be where they are. So what is he supposed to do? Does he know if the guy's going to continue crossing? Does he know if the guy's going to stop? So he's got to pass that guy off and get to another read in his progression. If a guy's running a wrong route and he's open, but you don't know what he's going to do with the route. Is he going to cut it off? Is he going to turn back? What is he going to go deeper? He goes, it's pretty hard to throw it. He goes, Daniel Jones, he told me Daniel Jones has played so much better than he's gotten credit for. They're really happy with him. We'll see. It would solve a huge problem for them if they didn't have to go get a quarterback. But we're 6 games into a 17-game schedule. Let the last 11 play out.
Papa with us, the voice of the Giants on WFAN in New York. This defensive line has some players on it. Is that the best part of this defense in New York? How do they play it?
Multiple, man. Wink Martindale is a mad scientist. There was an alignment he had last week against the Ravens. You know how the wide receivers line up in the slot in a bunch set? I don't know if you saw this. Did you see this?
I did see this, yes.
Yeah. So they had a bunch set of defensive players right over center, and Lamar Jackson had no idea what to do with it. Look, again, Dexter Lawrence is playing out of his mind. Leonard Williams is their best defensive player. Xavier McKinney is one of their best defensive players. Adoree Jackson's playing great. And then they just got guys. They got a lot of guys. And they find out what these players do best. And they put them in a position to be successful based on situation. Jihad Ward has been awesome against the run. sets the edge. But last week, late in the game, Jihad Ward wasn't on the field because Wink didn't feel like that's what Baltimore was going to be doing now. So he got a faster linebacker on the field that was better in space, and he brings people from everywhere. So they're a fun team to watch because you really never know what's coming at you.
It's Bob Papa, the voice of the Giants, and the exclusive extended conversation with him, available now on the official Jaguars podcast network. That's a free subscription on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever else you download podcasts. Also available on Jaguars.com. Just click the podcast tab at the top of the homepage. Plenty ahead. We're back in a moment. We'll head to the broadcast booth and hear from Bucky Brooks and John Ozier for a pregame Huddle Up podcast. And the inactives are coming up. We're an hour and a half away from kickoff. It's Week 7, the New York Giants and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up. This is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT. What makes that famous call
dinner's ready
even better? It's cooking a great meal with natural gas, enjoying faster cooking times and precise temperature control. And now getting a valuable cash rebate up to $300 when you install an energy-efficient natural gas range or cooktop.
Anyone want seconds?
When you show your home love with natural gas, it loves you right back. To learn more and how to qualify, visit peoplesgas.com/rebates.
Feeling hungry, Jaguars fans? Fuel your Duval energy with a delicious Stallmeyer all-beef hot dog on game day as you support your Jacksonville Jaguars. Whether you're at the game or at home, it's not game day without a Stallmeyer all-beef hot dog made in Florida. Stallmeyer all-beef hot dogs will fuel your energy to help bring on a victory for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Stallmeyer all-beef hot dogs are available at your local Publix supermarkets. Don't feel hungry, Jaguars fans. Fuel your energy with the official hot dog of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Stallmeyer.
How far should we go? When it comes to the health of children, we will stop at nothing, focusing on prevention as much as cures. Working with community leaders, educators, policymakers to make every child's world a place for them to thrive. Going to the nth degree and beyond. Nemours Children's Health, well beyond medicine. Join the journey at nemours.org/beyond.
Jaguars Game Day Radio is brought to you by ViStar Credit Union. Do good, bank better. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. The New York Giants and the Jacksonville Jaguars coming up at 1 o'clock. The Giants-Jaguars game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Let's get to the inactives for today's game. The Jaguars have 5 players down today. Running back Snoop Connor, the rookie out of Ole Miss, unavailable today. Shaquille Griffin, the starting cornerback, has been on the injury report all week with a back issue. He will not play today. Tyree Gillespie, safety, is out. Jamal Agnew still battling through. The kick and punt returner not available today for the Jaguars. There'll be some changes there. And Adam Gotsis, the defensive lineman for the Jaguars, is down today as well. So 5 players out. Agnew and Griffin would be the most notable, I think, because of the injury situations there. Agnew, you got to find people to return those kicks and punts, and he had a little bit of a role in the offensive side of the ball as well. But then Shaq Griffin, starting corner, changes a lot.
Yeah, no doubt. The Giants, I do not have their official inactive list, JP. I've been looking, but they had already ruled 5 players out for this game.
There you go.
So there you go. Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney, pair of wide receivers who have been oft injured, will not be suiting up today. Outside linebacker Azeez Ojulari, along with another outside linebacker, O'Shane Zimenez, both not playing, and backup corner Cordale Flott out with a calf injury.
That's the inactive list for the Giants and the Jaguars today, a 1 o'clock kickoff time here at the bank. Let's go to the broadcast booth upstairs, and we welcome in NFL Network and Jaguars radio field analyst Bucky Brooks and Jaguars.com senior writer John Ozier as well. Good afternoon, good morning, I guess still. It's not even noon yet, but here we are in Week 7, and a good matchup today. The Jaguars at 2-4, the Giants, the surprise team, Bucky, in the first 6 games of the season, 5-1, and the Giants have found ways to finish games. How do the Jaguars get to that point?
Yeah, no, it's amazing how quickly the Giants have figured out the process of winning games under Brian Daboll. They've done a really good job of taking advantage of others' mistakes, and that's really been the calling card for this team. It's not necessarily that they have superior talent or that they've played better than their opponent. They have capitalized on mistakes, and so when we think about the game of football, we think about turnovers and penalties and big plays allowed. What the Giants have done is they've mastered the art of not giving up those things, doing a great job of taking care of the ball. Daniel Jones has improved tremendously in that aspect. And then defensively, they take it over at opportune times, and they don't give you short fields because they've done a really good job of protecting the ball.
Well, it turns it into a huge opportunity. I mean, if the Jaguars win this game, 3-4, you look at it and say, okay, they're sort of back in it. They've beaten a team that is playing really well. The issue, as I've talked to both of you guys this week, is they've got to do that, and they haven't been good in late-game situations. So you're playing a team that is exceptionally good at that. Does that trend break today? You know, I have a feeling with this Jaguars team that if they can break that trend and get a win late, that over the next few weeks they could get back into it. I don't think it's a schedule that necessarily is incredibly daunting until you get to Kansas City. I think they will be close games, but at some point you got to win them, and they just haven't done it. They're 0-4 in games decided by a score or less.
Guys, we all know they've got to slow down Saquon Barkley today, and having Foley Fatukasi available is a big part of that. How important is it for Foley to play like he did prior to the injury early in the season?
I mean, it's really important. He's a big part of the run defense, and I think all hands on deck when it comes to dealing with number 26 in blue. Look, Saquon Barkley is a problem. He's a guy who can be bottled up for most of the game, and then he explodes for a 70-yard run. So this is one where everyone needs to be aware of where he is, where he lines up. You need all 11 hats running to the ball, and then you got to make sure that everyone tackles well. So he has to play well on the inside. But really, man, this is a collective effort to keep number 26 from having a big game.
Yeah, I think Fatukasi is important, but I agree with Bucky on this one. Barkley is such a stressful back to play because some backs, if you get them out of their rhythm, you feel like the team sort of goes away from them, and you can sort of beat them in the first half. Or if you stop one area, you're fine. Saquon, I think it was Bucky earlier this week, compared to Barry Sanders a little bit. And there is that element. You can stop him and stop him and stop him, and you're stressing out so much about stopping the whole game, and then if you let one play get away, he beats you for 70 yards and looks like he had a great game because he did. So I think I barely even thought about Fatukasi this week. Had they been playing Jonathan Taylor, I think I kind of think about that position more. Mm-hmm. With Barkley, it's just a case of getting all guys there and them all being on point and tackling well every play, and that's hard to do for 60 minutes. That's why Barkley's so good, is he gets you in that spot where you let down.
I get that's the focus of the defense this week, but on the Jaguars side of things, on the defensive side, Shaq Griffin, starting corner, is unavailable today. A back injury. He's been on the report all week, Bucky, after last week's struggles. And, where do you move from here as a secondary? It may not be the focal point today, but you still want to cover the back end if you need to.
Well, it actually is a focal point because if you're going to commit all your resources to stopping a run, that means the secondary, they have to hold up in man-to-man coverage. And so that means Tyson Campbell, Darius Williams, Trey Herndon, those guys have to win their one-on-one battles. And even though the Giants don't have marquee names, what you can do is have a bunch of unheralded players making plays. I would say last week some of the frustration in Indianapolis was the unheralded guys getting loose. Michael Pittman, he's going to be the primary guy, but then the other guys got loose. So today it has to be those guys on the outside taking care of business, winning their one-on-one matchups, because if they do that, then it allows you to put 8 in the box and make sure that Saquon Barkley doesn't get loose.
It's funny. Usually it would be a storyline all week if that corner wasn't going to play, and it was. But, frankly, the way he played last week, I don't know that him not being out there is as major a story as if he had played well. So it's just a matter of, as Bucky said, can this defense, when they are in man, which they're going to be, when they're exposed, which they're going to be, can they get to Jones quickly enough to make those make those corners not a factor, and then can that area hold up? I don't think it's a major area to watch play by play, but there's going to be moments in the second half where there's big plays where it's a big area to watch.
Guys, we know Wink Martindale's defense loves to blitz, and one way to deal with that effectively is to run effectively and maybe slow that blitz down a little bit. Are you anticipating, both of you, that we're seeing a little bit of a shift towards Travis Etienne based on the way he's played the last couple of weeks, or is it still too soon to determine that?
No, there's a definite shift, and the shift has little to do with his ability to run the ball, but more his ability to produce big plays. You Doug Peterson, and you want more explosive on offense. The best way to do it is to put the ball in the hands of guys who can deliver those explosive plays. So we've seen in the last couple of weeks, it was Travis Etienne. We saw Jamal Agnew. We saw some other guys have opportunities, but Travis Etienne is in the lineup early because he's a guy who can take it the distance. And to score points in this league, you can't do it on 4- and 5-yard gains. You have to have chunk plays to be able to put the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, it's easy to forget last week because so much happened in the second half. Etienne's one move away from scoring on that first run, didn't get in, and 7 points is the difference in the game.
Mm-hmm.
They definitely – I don't know who else is a big play guy on this offense right now other than him. He's been so close. It has felt to me like 4 or 5 different plays over the last couple of weeks. He has been close to getting in the end zone. I think it's going to happen. I think he's going to start scoring a lot of touchdowns. For the Jaguars, I think they need that today. I mean, it's a team that's looking for confidence. It's a team that's looking for something to believe you're going to win one of these close games. A turnover for 6 or a big run by Etienne, wouldn't that be something that this team's looking for the last couple of weeks, JP?
Oh, no doubt. And then once you get that rolling, guys, you can run the play-action game off that and maybe hit a shot or two down the field. It's been a little bit since that's happened, Bucky, for this offense.
Yeah, it has been a little bit. That's the one part of the offense that we haven't seen. We played a lot of small ball, a lot of half-court basketball, but we haven't been able to get up and down the field with explosive plays. Now, some of that is due to the personnel. I don't know if we have a blazer, a speedster that can get over top of the defense. And so when you don't have that element, you have to manufacture that. So that's by play design, that's misdirection and deception. That's being able to have some success on the ground so you can bootleg and throw it down the field. And so at some point you have to deliver 5 or 6 explosive plays to really be able to put up the kind of points that you want to put up. The Jaguars need to find that element some way, somehow.
Yeah, over the last couple of weeks, it's been pretty obvious they have wanted to make sure that Trevor's within the game plan. They've been playing defenses that have very much taken that play away. I don't know that he's at the stage yet where some quarterbacks, when they're playing that cover 2, can see it, and there's 2 or 3 opportunities a game where it's going to be there, and they got it, and they can go after it. I don't know that Trevor's quite there yet. I think he will get there. But I think that's been a big factor in the last couple of weeks is they really haven't – I don't say they haven't had in the game plan, but it has not been an emphasis because they've really wanted him to take the underneath and make sure they stay in games. I think the big play is coming at some point, Buck.
Quickly, the thing about Martindale's defense is is so random that it's hard to pinpoint when you're going to be able to take the shot. And some of those other defenses that are static, you can, by design, understand in this situation we're probably going to get this coverage and whatever. Wink Martindale doesn't operate on that kind of script. He's going to bring pressure from anywhere and everywhere in any situation. So it's going to be a test for Trevor to be able to see it, identify, be on the same page with the wide receiver, and then deliver an accurate ball. So this could be a bit of a up and down performance for Trevor as he's trying to figure out what Martindale is bringing and where he's bringing it from, because the D coordinator is certainly going to have plenty of tricks in store for Trevor Lawrence because he wants to force a handful of turnovers.
Yeah, guys, when I covered Peyton Manning back in the day, he used to talk about how mentally exhausting it was to play the Ravens back in the day. And it wasn't Wink Martindale necessarily.
Same family, though. Same
but
tree.
The same family, the same thing. And he would talk after those games that they were the most mentally exhausting and difficult games because much like the defense playing Saquon, you have to be thinking and high-end all the time. So it's a big challenge for quarterbacks mentally in games like this.
And it's a young battery, too. Rookie center and second-year quarterback for the Jaguars trying to get it done today. Air-conditioned comfort for John today. Bucky, you've got clear blue skies and 78 degrees.
I mean, it's pretty now. I'm going to be honest with you. This is perfect football weather. This is my kind of weather. It'd be better if the Jaguars cap it off with a nice win. Need this one today.
Absolutely.
No doubt. All right, guys. Bucky Brooks, John Ozier joining us from the broadcast booth. And check out the weekly Huddle Up with Bucky Brooks show Wednesdays at 4 on Jaguars.com and the Jag social channels, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We're inside 20 minutes from Jaguars radio network coverage with Countdown to Kickoff. We'll hear from Pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor and get his thoughts on a great running back matchup today. We'll return with a fantasy forecast, though, and visit with Frank Frangie, the Giants and the Jaguars coming up. And this is the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Cancer patients across the Southeast make Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center in Jacksonville their first choice for treatment. Dr. Jonathan Melquist explains why.
We have so many resources that can help a patient from the very onset, and we just have a degree of unity and cohesive care that is hard to match. It's especially with the tougher cancers that we really excel.
Appointments available now. Call 844-632-2278.
At Tropical Smoothie Cafe, one taste and you're feeling good now, smiling wider now, seeing brighter now, bucket dunking now, namasteing now, popping a wheelie now, living lighter now. You're on Tropic Time now. And on Mondays, try our Jaguars Duval Delight Smoothies for $2.99. And you're roaring louder now, end zone dancing now, sipping spirit now. You're on Tropic Time now at Tropical Smoothie Cafe.
You've been putting back a few, and a few becomes a few too many. For a moment, you think of calling for a ride, but nah, you live nearby. What's the worst that could happen? You get pulled over, your insurance goes up, you lose your license, you total your car, you kill someone. The results of driving drunk are tragic. That's why law enforcement is out there looking for impaired drivers to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Paid for by FDOT.
Storm season is here, and JEA is doing everything possible to prepare. We've invested millions in hardening our electric, water, and sewer systems to make them more resistant to extreme weather. By updating your contact information and signing up for alerts, you'll also be better prepared if a storm hits. And in the event we need to restore your power, we can keep you up to date on our efforts and get you back to normal sooner. Update your contact info today at JEA.com. JEA, building a more prepared community.
Hey, it's Marissa Garnhart, girlfriend of Jacksonville Jaguars running back James Robinson. The team always has a game day plan, and so do I.
This week at Publix, save $10 instantly when you spend $40 on the P&G products that help you tackle everything from pregame prep to postgame cleanup, including Crest, Old Spice, Bounty, and Tide. Clip your digital coupon now at Publix.com.
Available at Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
This is the Publix Tailgate Show. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure. We continue from TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville. It's Week 7. The New York Giants at 5-1. The Jacksonville Jaguars at 2-4. It's a 1 o'clock kickoff time today. JP Shadrick with Mike Dempsey from the Jaguars Radio Network studio. Network coverage coming up at the top of the hour, about 12 minutes from right now. Let's get a Week 7 fantasy forecast from Mike Dempsey.
All right, a couple of storylines for the 1 o'clock games to be aware of. DeAndre Swift, the Detroit running back, despite coming off a bye and missing the 2 previous games, is not going to play today. So Jamal Williams will start for the Lions in a tough matchup against the Cowboys. And Carolina, after dealing away Christian McCaffrey, been a lot of speculation about who is the running back to pick up and play in fantasy. Is it Deontay Foreman? Is it Chuba Hubbard? And I think most people, the majority, went with Foreman as being the most likely, at least the early down back. But as of this morning, at least, Carolina listing Chuba Hubbard as their starting running back. So that's going to send a lot of people scrambling to their waiver wire before kickoff at 1 o'clock. In the 4 o'clock games today, Houston at Las Vegas. Lovie Smith saying what we wish every head coach would say. My starting tailback needs 20-plus carries a game. That's Dameon Pierce. You can expect him to be a high-volume player the rest of the way here. And for the Raiders, Darren Waller is out. Foster Moreau will get the start there. Hunter Renfrow, questionable, expected to play. And Mac Hollins also questionable. He'll be a game-time decision. Seattle at the L.A. Chargers in the 4 o'clock window. Tyler Lockett, dealing with a hamstring injury, limited to 2 catches last week, is expected to suit up for the Seahawks today. Keenan Allen for the Chargers is a true game-time decision with his own hamstring injury. Josh Palmer already out with a concussion from that Charger wide receiver core. The Jets in Denver in the 4 o'clock window. Elijah Moore will be inactive for the Jets today after requesting a trade. Not that that leaves Corey Davis or Garrett Wilson in great stead against Denver's very tough pass defense. Brett Ripien will start for Russell Wilson for the Broncos. Wilson dealing with a hamstring injury, which could keep him out next week against the Jaguars in London as well. Then you get to Kansas City and San Francisco. Of course, McCaffrey expected to be active for San Fran. How many snaps will he play? How many touches will he get? Your guess is as good as anyone's. They say maybe a package of red zone plays. Who knows in the heat of battle, though, if he's looking good, if they don't just keep going to him. And the big twist this morning is rookie running back Isaiah Pacheco will get the start for the Chiefs. So they're benching Clyde Edwards-Helaire in favor of Pacheco, who's been coming on a little bit lately. And then finally on Sunday Night Football, Tua Tagovailoa back after a 2-game absence due to a concussion that he suffered, will start at quarterback for the Dolphins when they host the Pittsburgh Steelers.
There's your fantasy forecast for Week 7. The Giants-Jaguars game is presented by Florida Blue. Florida's Blue Cross and Blue Shield Company has been providing health insurance to residents of Florida for more than 75 years, driven by its mission of helping people and communities achieve better health. Learn more at floridablue.com. Let's head back to the broadcast booth for the Frangie File. We visit with Jaguars play-by-play announcer Frank Frangie, and it's a beautiful Sunsplash Chamber of Commerce day, and it should be a nice crowd for what should be an entertaining football game today, Frank.
Boy, JP, you're right about the day. It doesn't get any better than this. Go ahead and write this, put this one on tape recorder or whatever you want to do. You're not going to get many like this. The day is absolutely splendid, man. Not a cloud in the sky. It's going to be about 75 degrees. Been this way all weekend long. So, and yeah, I agree with you. It should be a good game. These are two good teams. One team's 5-1. That means you're pretty good. And I really believe this Jaguar team is way better. I know they say you are what your record says you are, but they've been in every game. I think it's a good Jaguars football team. It should be a good game today. Excited about it.
All right, Frank, a lot of issues here that the Jags have to deal with, including the blitz packages that Wink Martindale brings. Last week, over about 60% of the time, they sent more than 4 rushers. Do you think this Jaguars offense is going to be able to handle that today?
I do think what Doug Peterson has done of late, including last week, Mike, is build a game plan where the ball gets out of Trevor Lawrence's hand quickly. I think that happened last week. When he's been at his best, that's what they've done. And I think you'll see that today. I think you'll anticipate a lot of blitzing. I think you'll see a lot of short drops. I think you'll see a lot of get the ball out of his hands. I don't think this game plan this week will be built for Trevor to have to very often get to his third or fourth progression, Mike. I think the plan is to get the ball out of his hands. That means a lot of screens if you think the other guy's blitzing a bunch. But I think they're certainly ready for that. But, yeah, you're right. That's one of the storylines of the game is the Giants have been a very good blitzing defense and will be again today.
Frank Frangie with us from the broadcast booth upstairs at TIAA Bank Field. It's really impossible to overstate Saquon Barkley's emphasis in this Giants offense. I mean, he's everything to this group. And what he doesn't run, he sets up for Daniel Jones to run. But it's all around number 26. How do you slow him down today?
He's so complete, JP. That's the thing. He's so complete. Derrick Henry's a great running back, but you know what you're getting. He's coming right at you, right? And then he's going to stiff arm you and keep going. And Jonathan Taylor the same way. Saquon Barkley can run inside. He's 235 pounds. He can run outside. He can run. He's very agile. He's a very good pass receiver. Already has 21 catches. This is a guy that can do a lot of things. So, you know what? Your linebackers have to play well. Devin Lloyd didn't play very well last week. That is well known. Foye Oluokan's been kind of up and down. Boy, if your linebackers ever played well, it would be today. Now, I think you'll see them concerned. The Jaguars will be concerned. You've already seen that Adam Gotsis is down today. So I think they want to get a little bigger at the defensive front. So that's why I think you're going to see both Fatukasi and Corey Peters in the game today. They want to get physical. They want to be more physical at the front. But there's so many things he can do, JP. He is really a good player.
Frank, it may not show up today against the Giants team that wants to run the ball all day if they can, but Shaq Griffin out with Trey Herndon coming in. How much of a fall-off is that, if any?
Well, it's not going to be a fall-off from last week because Shaq didn't play very well. So I don't think there's a drop-off when you're replacing a guy that didn't play very well. I feel for Shaq in this because he wants to get back out there after that game. You know what I mean, Mike? That's the game you want. You can't wait to put your uniform on again, and he's going to have to wait a while to do it. It's interesting the way they're going to go about it. When they're in nickel, Trey Herndon will play outside, and they're going to leave Darius Williams inside. When they're in base, which will be more in this game than other games, then you'll see Darius Williams and Tyson Campbell in there together. Mike, Shaq's struggling, man. I mean, there's no other way to say it. So I'd be surprised if there's much drop-off at all. And I don't want to – it's not fair to Shaq to say they're going to improve at the spot, but they're not going to play a whole lot worse than he did last week, and he knows that, and he can't wait to get back and fix that. But I don't see a lot of drop-off today.
Real quick, Frank, Evan Ingram did not want to use the R word in the locker room this week, revenge, but – he wants to play well against Big Blue today.
Of course he does. And we see that anytime someone's playing against their former team. And I thought it would go better and longer. I saw him a lot, JP, at Ole Miss. I know you did too. I thought it would go better and longer for him in New York. He was injured a lot. The Giants were rebuilding. That thing never really happened, did it? And so for a myriad of reasons, that's got to stick in his craw a little bit. That's the team that drafted him. But, I think he would not be surprised if he has a big game at all today.
Have a great call, Frank.
Okay, fellas, thank you.
Frank Frangie from the broadcast booth upstairs at the bank as the Jaguars prepare to entertain the New York Football Giants. Up next, it's Jaguars Radio Network coverage. Countdown to kickoff. We'll get the top stories of the day. We'll hear from pride of the Jaguars running back Fred Taylor on this really good running back matchup today. And the final word before kick with Doug Peterson. Giants, Jaguars coming up. And thanks for listening to the Publix Tailgate Show on Jaguars Radio.
You're beyond busy. Between work and the kids, the dogs and the cat, let us help. With Publix Delivery powered by Instacart, you'll get the items you need from the store you know. Just shop online, select the time you'd like your order delivered, and grocery shopping is done, giving you more time to take care of everything else.
Publix Delivery, powered by Instacart. Visit Publix.com/delivery to shop now. That's Publix.com/delivery. Item prices vary from in-store prices. Service fees may apply. Available in select zip codes. Publix, where shopping is a pleasure.
Since 1916, Duval Motor Company is here to keep you and your vehicle off the sidelines. Their all-star lineup of dealerships provides superior sales, maintenance, and repairs for every make and model with Ford, Honda, Acura, Subaru, Chevrolet, and everything in between. At every Duval location across North Florida, Duval Motor Company always puts service first. In-store, online, or at your front door. Get service first with DuvalMotorCompany.com.
You say there's nothing quite like the feel of the open road when you ride a motorcycle.